If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
You're listening to Trust My Work, the official podcast of trustmywork.com for everyone that wants to excel as an individual.
On the Trust My Work podcast, we have Judge Graham. Judge Graham is a hard-hitting, action-oriented entrepreneur with a successful track record of growing companies and selling them for hundreds of millions of dollars. His companies have won numerous high-profile business accolades, including Inc. 5000 and multiple Best Places to Work awards. He's also been featured in media outlets like Adweek, Ad Age, Forbes, Bloomberg, CNBC, Money, and many more. He currently hosts the top-rated Not Scale and Exit podcast anymore. Now it is
Straight Fire
podcast, and is an acclaimed author. Judge is the go-to authority on helping businesses identify and capitalize on opportunities to improve revenue and corner markets through integration of cutting-edge positioning, culture, technology, marketing, and sales. Welcome, Judge.
Thanks, man. Wow, what an intro. I need to tighten up that bio.
Just got one little correction there, but I knew you had changed the name of it to Straight Fire. I think that's a great name for your podcast, too. I think that
thanks,
perfectly describes what you
do. Good, man. Thanks. I appreciate it.
So, yeah. So for those of my listeners that don't know who you are, obviously the bio's a great place to start, but if you want to give them a little introduction of yourself, that would be terrific.
Yeah. No, thanks for having me on. Serial entrepreneur my whole life, have failed a couple businesses and been successful at several more. And all of them have really been in the marketing and digital space, really agency side. So performance media, doing digital before digital was kind of like cool. And now I've written a couple books. I keynote speak, I coach, I consult, and having a lot of fun.
Awesome. I have read your first book. I have your second book and have not had a chance to read it yet. But first book was awesome.
Thanks.
And obviously the Scale with Speed. Scale is an acronym, and the first part of that one is the one that when I've listened to you talk to other people and things, it seems to be the one that trips people up the most. And that's really just deciding what you want your business to be in the future, right? Whether it's you're growing it to exit or if you're growing it for some other reason.
Yeah.
And when I've listened to you on other podcasts, it doesn't seem like it would be that tough of a thing to nail down, but it seems like people really have a hard time with figuring that part out.
Yeah, they do. I mean, people struggle. Being an entrepreneur and starting a business is tough. As you know it, and as you're experiencing with your current business, right? So,
yes.
Most entrepreneurs get into business with this idea of they love something, they're passionate about it, and they think that it can impact them professionally and monetarily, and also can impact people's lives. But they don't ever really step back and think about, besides that, why are they building the business? Is it to exit it for, hundreds of millions of dollars one day and have full financial freedom? Is it to create legacy? Is it to build a lifestyle business? Like, why are you doing it? And once you understand why you do it, you actually think about the business differently. You make decisions differently, and it helps guide you on that journey of success.
Yeah, and that why is something that people really need to get clear on, right? Is the why that they just didn't want to work for somebody else, and they're okay with their business actually just being a job that they own, or are they trying to, is there, that they want to be able to travel the world, they want to be able to do some things on their own time, and kind of call their own shots, or is it something even grander than that? They, like Tony Robbins wants to feed 1 billion people. I mean, I guess people really need to nail down what their why is, which can be a difficult thing, because people just say, well, I want to have more money, but you need to really hone in on what that means to you, right?
Oh, 100%. You definitely have to do that. It's critical to understand what you want, why you want it, and to me, probably the most important piece in there is when. So I call it the 3 W's: what, why, and when. And when, if most people that actually do take the time to figure out what they want and why they want it, then they neglect to create urgency or speed around it and actually put a when. I talk to so many people and they go, man, I want to be a millionaire, or, someday. Well, fucking someday never fucking comes, right? Because
Right.
You never put a date on it, right? And so without a date, things aren't real. So if you say, I want to, grow Trust My Work to a $10 million company and sell it and make, $30 million, when do you want to do that, right? Is it
Right.
in a year? And then if it's a year, you kind of map that out and go, well, that's probably not possible, right? So, but I could do it in 5, or I could do it in 3, and then you build backwards your plan in order to start making decisions and thinking and putting the level of effort needed in to doing it. Because, man, at least I don't know about you, but the older I get, the years fly by. So,
That's for sure.
So if you're not making something real with the date and doing measurable progress daily, you're more than likely will miss your goal.
Yeah. And I think probably one of the things that holds people back from putting that date on something is that fear of failure. And I know I've heard you talk about being able to get by fearing failing on something, and you put a date on something, and there's definitely failure is possible, but it definitely can become real as you approach that goal that you have a hard date on. So how have you worked to overcome that fear of failure? Because I think that's one of the things that is a real holdback for a lot, is just that fear of not making their goal. And it's easier to not have a goal than it is to fail at a goal for some people.
Yeah, listen, failure is part of it. Failure is a needed, it's necessary, 100% necessary in order to win and be successful, right? I talk about all the time, you look at the greatest of the greats, whether it's Oprah Winfrey or it's, Michael Jordan, these people publicly say, wow, I failed more than I have won. Michael Jordan says, I've missed more shots than I've made. And arguably, he's the best player in the world. The difference between not being the best player in the world and being the best is they recognize that they have to keep failing in order to get better. And more than likely, their track record of failures in order to be great is going to be higher than the greatness. Because it takes that many shots, what is it? Wayne Gretzky, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. And, people are afraid to shoot, using the sports analogy. And if you're not shooting, you're not in the fucking game. If you're not in the fucking game, you can never win. So my advice on failure is it's needed, it's necessary. And the reason I think people are scared of failure is they overthink things. I talk about, like, using an analogy of, like, if you want to write a book, like, I'd never written a book before. I believe, probably like most everybody else, I'm not a good writer. I never did well in that in school. How do I do this? So if you start thinking about those things and you start going, well, how am I going to get a publisher? How am I going to do this? This is going to cost money. It's going to take time. how, you talk yourself out of starting, and
Right.
you fail before you even have the chance to fail, if that makes sense. So you have to start. So people are scared of failure, and they have the inability to start because they fail before they even have the chance to fail or be successful. So my advice on that is just, whatever it is, you want to run a marathon, don't overthink it. Don't buy like the shoes. Don't research it. Just fucking lace up and go on a run. Do that do that every day for 3 weeks consistently. And guess what? You're going to start feeling good. You're going to be able to run more. And then you can start thinking about what kind of shoes, how should I train? But you just need to get going. And that's with anything.
Yeah. And I've certainly done that myself and got caught up in my head and got caught up in the, I don't know if semantics, but caught up in everything that goes into doing something, and forgetting about the actual doing part.
Yes.
So you get tied up. As an example, I was having a discussion last night with a side hustle that I'm working on. I'm trying to think of a name for it. So I was talking with my wife, and I've got 15 names written out, and she's just like, "Why are you worried about the name? Worry about everything else. Worry about the other stuff and whatever. Just pick something. It's not going to matter in the end."
Yeah.
And
or you could change it. You could change it.
Right. So you can certainly get tied up in all the extra little things. If you're fishing, you can get tied up and worried about making sure you've got the right hook, the right lure, the right bait, all that other stuff. Until you throw that damn thing in the water, you're not fishing. So
it's a great
you've got to start.
Yeah, you got to start, and you can't overthink it. I mean, and going back to using even my first book as an example, kind of in your similar naming exercise, my book title changed 5 times before it went live.
Yeah.
So, but if I would have gotten wrapped up in trying to figure that out before I wrote the book, then I would have never written the book.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And how much do you think the voices in our heads, which typically come from people that we've listened to, when we were growing up, or for those of us who are a little older, people that we've listened to in our lives, there's a lot more naysayers in this world than there are people who are going to cheerlead you on. How much do you think that fear of failure comes from just listening to other people, and you don't want to go and start your own thing because you'll lose your 401k and all that kind of stuff. You think that plays a large role?
It's huge. Like I truly believe, people have a bunch of different sayings, right? Your network or your net worth is equal to your network, right? Or you become who you hang out with, right? Look at your closest 5 friends, that you probably have similar relationships. You're probably physically the same, and you're making about the same money. So I do believe that there's a lot of truth to that. How I look at that is, your family's your family, right? So like, you got to love your family, rich, poor, indifferent, politically different, or whatever. But you have to surround yourself with like-minded people that, I wouldn't even say necessarily believe in you, but believe similar to your mindset, right? So if you're hanging out with a bunch of people that are non-entrepreneurial and you want to be a fucking entrepreneur, it's going to be a tough road, because what happens is you don't have similarities to talk about anymore. They're bitching about their 9 to 5 and why the fuck they didn't get a bonus and they hate their boss, and you're worried about how do you make payroll, right? So they're 2 different things, right? And so I tell people all the time, and this is counsel, this isn't advice, I talk about this all the time. If you want to be better in life, you must seek out counsel, right? So if you want to sell a multi-million-dollar business, you should only get counsel from people that have done that or more. Because if you go get it from your brother-in-law who's working at Wendy's, or your sister who's a school teacher, which are all great jobs, right? I'm not knocking the profession, But if you try to have a conversation, they're going to give you advice. They're going to give you an opinion, and more than likely it's going to be wrong, right? I mean, you wouldn't go see a heart surgeon to ask them about, a legal contract. Like you would go, you would go to the, attorney that practices that. So we get caught up in our surroundings, and we really listen to people that aren't qualified to help us, right? And more than likely, to also not only to help us, but to inspire us. If you're talking to somebody who's done it before, they know how you feel. They know where you're at. Not only can they help counsel you through, but.
Yep. Graham, I lost you. You still.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Somebody.
I lost you for a second. Oh, okay, that's okay. I just make sure you're still there. Yeah. I think that's an absolutely awesome point, and I mean, I can certainly think of plenty of conversations I've listened to with people asking advice from someone who is not going to give them the proper advice. I mean, you listen to it all the time. Like right now, I can't think of an example off the top of my head, but I listen to people ask advice of somebody who happens to drive a car about, a noise they hear with their car. Well, that person's not qualified to really tell them about that noise.
Right.
And I think that's probably one of the ways that people get steered down the wrong road is because they listen to advice from people that shouldn't be giving them advice. And, you're absolutely right. If you want to sell a business for millions of dollars, then you should probably take advice from someone who has sold a business for millions of dollars and not somebody who is just working day to day for somebody else. And like you said, not that there's anything wrong with that. It's just you need to get your advice from the proper places in life. And that's a great point.
Yeah. And the other tidbit I would throw out for, entrepreneurs out there trying to figure it out is don't overthink of things. Like ship the product. Like the most important thing in the business's first 6 to 12 months to 24 months is fucking revenue. Revenue fixes everything, in business almost. So, if you thought you had a productive day, you should look back and go, what did I do to help generate or support revenue? How many invoices did I get out? How many things did I collect, right? How do you get to that point where you're focusing on revenue? Because most entrepreneurs, we get so caught up because we're idea bunnies, right? We have all these ideas. We want to make all these different things. And that's great. And that's part of it. And it's needed. But, those first years, it's about revenue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's definitely a lesson that I am learning over the last couple of years. That's you can try and build the best product in the world, but until you can sell it to somebody, it doesn't matter what you build. So,
right.
That goes across any industry. It doesn't matter whether it's a physical product, a digital product, or a service or anything else. If you can't get the revenue, then you're never going to grow to where you need to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So your one of your big things, and the very first time that I ever heard you speak somewhere, you were talking about being niche, and that niche will get you rich, and you go an inch wide and a mile deep. And I can still remember listening to I can't tell you where it was that I heard you saying it, but I can tell you that I was building a stone wall in my backyard while I was listening to it, and I was like,
"That's cool.
That's genius." I remember exactly where I was, and I was like, I got to listen to this again when I'm not doing something else. And you start to think about that, and it's like so true. I mean, everything has kind of started as niche. Even the juggernaut Amazon started as an online bookstore, right? It started very niche. So, and I think you're I can't even call it a theory because obviously you've proved it out several times. I think that idea is so helpful to a lot of people. I know for me, when we spoke about Trust My Work, that was one of the things that you said was, pick a niche, and I kind of thought I had a niche with reviews for individuals, and you were like, you need to find a deeper niche of certain individuals to make that, and then grow it from there. And if you grow it out to, to 1,000 different industries from there, great. But start with one and make that work and optimize that. And that's something that I'm working on now. I'm working on fitness professionals, and giving them the avenue. And I think that's going to be the catalyst that I need to be able to focus my attention, to be able to do this.
Yeah, I think niches has always been important, but now it's even more important, right? So the big Amazon's a great example, right? So most people don't, when you start in business, and rightfully so. I mean, it's an easy way to think about it. It's going, okay, well, if I'm going to be a roofer, I want to sell anybody that needs a fucking roof. I'm going to sell it to them, right? Because I'm going to make a gazillion dollars because, every house needs a roof, every hut needs a roof, every trailer park needs a roof, everything needs a roof, right? Yeah. So, but what happens is you become a master of nothing, right? And you just can't catch up. It just doesn't work. Where if that same roofer, like Amazon, now, would look at it and say, I'm going to start, and all I'm going to do is homes that are 5 million plus, only residential homes that are 5 million plus, and I'm going to become the best fucking luxury, residential roofer in Tampa, right, or whatever. And then what happens is you have the right staff, the right materials, your processes are easier, you have more case studies, you have more testimonials. It just all becomes easier, right? And then once you do that, like Amazon, and you completely dominate it, well, then now maybe you move into, $2 million houses, or you go to trailer parks, or you go to, commercial, but you don't start there. And we're in a society now where niche is almost demanded. I mean, with the proliferation of the internet, I mean, you can almost find a specialty for anything. And people want that. I mean, people want specialty. It's super, super key. And so if people aren't thinking niche now, they're going to lose. It's happening everywhere around us.
Yeah, I completely agree. And when you spend a little bit of time on,
Dave, I lost you, buddy. Dave, you there?
There I am.
Okay.
I was on the niche thing. I was saying, if you spend a little bit of time on LinkedIn with the 500 million people that are there, and it's amazing like how focused some of their job descriptions are that they have on there. It's there's no longer just a digital marketing person. It's a digital marketer for navel oranges and things. It's really, really gotten to the point where your niche idea is becoming the absolute norm. Yeah. And the only way to survive in the long run, I think.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah. All right. Great stuff. So three things that you think are the most important things to be able to scale a business.
Wow, 3. That's gonna be tough. I would say right now, it is. I mean, there's a lot of things, right? I mean, I think that, we could use my whole platform to scale with speed, but I won't use all of those. I'll pick 3 that I think are pretty important, besides obvious ones like revenue. I think you have to be niche. I mean, we talked at length about that, especially if you're just starting. Your likelihood of failing versus winning if you don't go super niche are astronomically not in your favor. So the more tighter you go and the more niche, that would be a huge piece of advice. The other piece of advice, and your wife kind of gave it to you, was make decisions quick. Don't overthink things. Don't fucking pontificate over 5 different names. Just go. Right? The faster you can make decisions and just get to production, even if they're wrong and you fail, you're moving so fast you can course correct. And as an entrepreneur, you got to think almost everything can be reversed. I mean, unless you're a brain surgeon or you're doing surgery, everything you're doing isn't that critical, right? You could change a name. It's pretty easy. You can redo the colors of your business card. You can update that. You can, if you screw up a client order, you more than likely you can fix it. There's going to be a little pain, but don't just make decisions and just keep moving, right? So that'd be the second thing. And then the third thing is don't fall asleep on video. Right now, video is, by 2020, 86% of all content online, which now is the most, prevalent channel, is going to be consumed via video. So if you don't have a video game right now, if you're not creating content, if you're not evangelizing your niche and why you're the market leader and why customers love you and how it's going to impact and make people's lives better, you're gonna lose. So those would be my top three.
Awesome. And I tell you, on that last one, the proof is in YouTube, right? It's the second largest search engine behind Google, and it's a video platform. It's
only going to get
video
bigger.
is. Yeah, absolutely. And it's kind of funny how things have gone in cycles, going way back. You had, newspapers, which then video pictures became the thing, like Instagram, but taking pictures on a camera. And then from there, video with TV became the thing. Switched back around. Email and things, and now we're right back into video again, the old time TV with video being the big thing that everybody has to get into. So it's like a big cycle that has kind of gone on in the world in the last 100 years.
Yeah, I mean, it's the only way people are consuming, especially the younger generation. I mean, the only way they consume content really right now is video, and whether long form, short form, whatever, they want raw, authentic video.
Yeah, it's true. My 13-year-old, it's like that's all he does. If he plays hockey, but when he's not playing hockey, if he's not playing a video game, he's watching videos of video games.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It blows my mind.
Yeah, it's the same at my house. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when mine were younger, they were watching videos of kids playing with toys versus just playing with toys. Like, it's great. I'm going to watch somebody else play with the toy. Okay.
It's crazy. I mean, I think of when I was growing up, and I got 10 years on you. I'm 50, and someone else was playing a video game. The most boring thing to do was to stand there and watch him play the video game.
Yeah. For sure.
Now this kid making a living making YouTube videos out of them playing video games. So it's definitely here.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Well, Graham, I know you've got places to be, and I greatly appreciate you being here with me today. Give the audience the ways they can connect with you, the best way to connect with you.
Yeah, definitely. Almost all my social handles are at Judge Graham. Facebook is at Judge Graham Business, and then judgegraham.com is my platform. All my books are on there. I'm really not selling a lot of stuff. Almost all my content is free. I do masterminds every now and then. I do keynotes, but at this point, I just believe in my message, and majority of everything I do is free. So if you like the content, please follow me.
Yeah, your content is awesome. It's incredibly generous of you to give all that out that you've learned over the years for free to others to help shorten their road to success. And I certainly greatly appreciate the time that you have spent with me.
Yeah, of course.
And
enjoyed it.
Hope that we can connect up again, and I'm sure we will talk again in the future.
Love it.
I really appreciate you being on, and I'm sure everybody's going to love this, and I'll get out there and start promoting this for us.